Hey everybody, today we are going to be going over how to connect the wiring for the Connex switch panel. So let's first go over the different components of the wiring harness. So here you have your leads to your battery, or you can also put this to an accessory switch. So just to note, if you're going to connect it directly to your battery, that means that you can turn the system on without having to have your key on. If you're going to do an accessory switch, you'll have to have your key on to power everything. So everyone has a different opinion on how to connect it. It's also just however you would like to do it. Either way is fine. Here are your different trigger wires. So all the blue wires are going to be your trigger wires that you're going to connect to the switch panel, which we'll go over here a little bit later. These two wires, it's a thicker wire, you can tell. These are going to basically what runs power and ground to your controller and the Connex board. So these two wires, that'll be raw wires. The next ones are going to be all your power jumping wires. So you're going to jump power from each of the switches. And then these are your ground jumping wires. So you're going to connect each of these to the ground pin on the switch. And then there's the initial red and blue wire, which are basically your incoming power. So you always want to do that to your first switch, which is the rhinolite switch. So these ones would kind of be marked separate. So you have your red here in the middle, and then your trigger wire here at the bottom pin. So next I'm going to go ahead and connect all the power and ground so I can kind of show you how each one goes in. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these. So power should be basically the middle prong on the left of the switch. So again, don't force these things. They should slide on pretty easily as long as you have them going straight on. Okay, so now you can see here, all the powers are connected. Now we're going to go to your grounds. So, ground is going to be the top right pin on each of the switches. So again, don't force it on. It should slide on pretty easily. It'll kind of click once it's connected. Sometimes the plastic pieces are a little too far down, so you just kind of push that back and then push it on. Okay, two more. Last one. Okay, so now you can see all the power and ground are connected. So again, the initial blue wire is just your power on, so that's why it doesn't have an exposed lead, whereas these are actually going to have your exposed parts of the wire that you're going to connect to the Connex board. So I'm just going to do one as an example, but I'm going to take one and I'm going to connect it to the very bottom prong, and this is the left-right switch. So what you do is you're basically going to take this lead and follow it all the way to whatever wire is here. I would recommend numbering them so you know which one is which. So if you ever want to disconnect them, you know which one is which, and you're not having to follow the wire all the way back to the switch or to the board. So then what you do is you find your left blink channel on the Connex. So that is the green wire here. What you do, you then take the wire and have a secure butt connection to them, solder them if you have that ability, or just do a butt connection. And then that is your trigger for your left turn signal. So again, you would go through that for all of these trigger wires. Obviously for your brake or your reverse, you're going to tap into a trigger wire that's already on your machine. These trigger wires are strictly for what is going to come from your switches. So you're going to go down each of these switches. There will be a wiring diagram that will be posted on our help website as well. So it'll have all the color combinations of which goes to where and how they are connected to the Connex panel. So also, we have had issues with people taking let's say you accidentally connect something wrong. You do not want to yank off the terminal. That is the wrong thing to do. What'll happen is you'll end up yanking the pin off the terminal. So the best thing to do is find some sort of flathead screwdriver. And what you're going to do is you're just kind of gently pry it off. So that way you're not going to break the terminal, and you kind of want to wiggle it up and down. There is a connection point, and then that comes off really easily. So don't be yanking off the terminals. Use some sort of flathead screwdriver to just gently kind of pry it off. It'll come off really easily. You shouldn't have any issues. Thanks again, and let us know if you have any questions.